The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised.
Top of the evening to you. It is St. Patty's Day. At least it is for us still here in the U.S. I know across the pond you all have already gone past it, but tough. Deal with it. Anyway, welcome back to Am I Mental, your live podcast where people share their stories about how mental health impacts real life and how life impacts mental health. I am your host, E, and with us as usual, fortunately, and I guess I can't say as usual anymore, but I have to say fortunately, but fortunately, we have C.
Hello.
And Bexy.
Hi.
And it seems like we're all feeling pretty good today.
Yes.
Which is the perfect way to feel when we're going to talk about grief. Because irony, yes.
I am, I'm feeling much better than I did last week, which is awesome. And, it is, a little, I feel the irony of talking about grief when you're in a good mood and everything like that, but I think this is a show that is really long overdue.
Agreed.
A subject we haven't touched on.
Agreed 100%. And also, I think that being in a good mood is actually not necessarily a bad thing. Because if we're in a bad mood and we start talking about grief, it probably act like an anchor. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Real quickly out there, just so hopefully Bonnie's on and listening. Yeah, I got suspended again. So I have to go out and buy myself a burner phone to get back onto Twitter. I can't seem to get around it any other way.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was so short-lived.
Yeah, it's kind of destined when I make an actual troll account that it's not going to last long. What I might wind up doing is just, going to become on my best behavior and then just change it over to a more podcasty, thing and delete a lot of my combative stuff. Might be a good idea.
Oh, maybe.
Just might be.
Maybe.
Aside from that, the same old. You want to support us, please share episodes. That way you can help others, because we have been credited with saving some lives. We've been credited with improving the quality of people's lives. The few times that I've actually considered quitting this podcast, I got reamed by a lot of people. I got reamed. So, yeah. Apparently this is important. Sharing episodes is the best way to go about it. Aside from that, you can always go to amimental.net/donate. Number of ways that you can donate there, including buy some merchandise. This week we don't have a guest. We are just going to talk about grief. Hopefully we'll get some more people in the chat here soon. But this is definitely a topic that everybody will experience at some point in their life.
Yes, and it doesn't have to just be grief in dealing with the loss of, a person. Grief comes in many forms. You can grieve the loss of a job. It doesn't have to be just grieving over death.
No, and it could also be grieving something that's normally considered good, like getting a promotion.
Yes.
Believe it or not, people grieve getting out of abusive relationships.
Yes.
It's more about the change than anything else. So that's where that comes from.
Yeah. I've definitely, had the hands of grief touch me at a very early age in my life. So I'm
just like,
trying
there's a part of me that wants to take that out of context.
Yeah, I know. As I was saying it, I was like, oh God, where is he going to go with this? I knew.
Yeah. I see that smile. That is not the good smile. No, no, I mean, yeah, you lost your father at a pretty young age. That is a hell of a lot of grief.
Yeah, at 7. On a major holiday.
Yeah.
That was really hard to deal with. And in my 30s, I lost 3 sisters.
I'm fortunate to be able to say I haven't lost either of my parents, and I haven't lost my sister. I'm so fortunate to be able to say that.
Yeah. And then, just a year ago was my mom. So, and in between that, 2 very beloved chihuahuas.
Aww.
And I know people will be like, really, you're going to put the dogs in there? Hell yes. Those were my fur babies and I love them and I miss them every day.
Of course.
I miss my sisters. I miss my parents, but I miss my dogs too.
Right. And if anyone has any issue with that, they could take it up with me. And then I'll go ahead and find out where they live and I'll hire someone to go kick their ass because capitalism.
Exactly. This is the last little chihuahua I have from the original ones that I had.
Oh,
My little 14-year-old Buttercuppy.
Blippy Cup. Or Bleppy Cup.
Yeah, she is Major Blep all the time.
Other sources of grief. Actually, getting something together. Working on, it's getting together a panel of guys to talk about paternal postpartum depression.
okay.
Guys go through it too. And
yes.
In some ways it's way less intense than what women go through, but in some ways it's even worse because guys they get that whole, but you didn't give birth. Well, their life changed too. Hormones trigger hormones. Her hormones are out of control. They will also trigger his hormones. It's a messy situation. For the reason for the panel idea is that, if it's just one guy saying it, it's like, oh, okay, he's just being, I'm not saying this. I'm just saying this is how society kind of views it. Is, oh, he's just being a wuss. But if you have 3, 4, 5 guys and they're all sharing the same details, same stories, same theme, that brings a little more weight to it.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, society tells us that having sad and painful and negative feelings and actually showing them is inappropriate, and it even starts as young as us telling kids, big boys and girls don't cry, or the classic stop that crying or I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh, if that one doesn't piss me off,
life,
Yeah, that one I have very, very personal hate against.
Yeah. And I mean, even in school, if a kid is emotional, you can, there's the taunts of, oh, you're a big crybaby,
Yeah, peer pressure.
Right.
Yeah, and people say, oh, you have to get a hold of yourself. You can't fall apart. You can't.
I
You know-
can't? Fucking
No.
watch me!
Right. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Keep a stiff upper lip, you know.
Right, and I mean, and some people will just flat out slam the pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Some
Yeah.
cases, it's, you know, it's one thing where it's like, yeah, you know what? You should. But then there are also cases where it's like, look, that's just not possible. Know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. And I mean, and even when you're experiencing grief and you're going through it, even the most well-meaning of people around you can make you just want to throttle them sometimes.
Sometimes.
I mean,
No, I know what you mean.
well, if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never
yeah.
hear, if I never hear, you know, when somebody, how are you feeling, you know, after something has happened and you're grieving and you're like, I'm sad, my heart is broken, I am hurting, and they're like, well, at least whoever is passed isn't in pain anymore. Yeah, I get that, but that does
Oh.
nothing for my pain right now.
Right?
You know, I don't want you.
I understand the
want you to
comment
tell
is
me.
well. Yeah, I understand the comment is well intentioned,
Oh, very well intentioned, and it is.
but
You know, it is a thing in this
But-
society that anything uncomfortable comes up, and grief is extremely uncomfortable. It is raw and powerful, and you know, if you haven't ever had to experience grief like that, then I will say you are truly a blessed person, because it changes you fundamentally.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through a period of my life where I lost someone that I loved on an annual basis. I was averaging a death a year. It was brutal. And you know, with it, you either you learn how to grieve, or it destroys you. That's
Yes.
just all there is to it. And oh, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, and people should realize there is no timetable to grief.
Yeah.
There are things that happen. I remember when my sister, one of my sisters passed, and after I had come home from Ohio, where I had to go for everything, and it was like a month afterwards, and I thought, I don't know what I was thinking. I was in the kitchen washing dishes, and I sank to the floor for an hour and a half and just sobbed, because and I was thinking, this is odd, why am I doing this? And then I realized that, you know, the whole time through the whole process, well, my sister was, unfortunately, she died from pancreatic cancer, and you know, I was up there for the end of it, watching her deal with everything with a smile on her face, holding her hand as she sat in a hospital bed, and being the last person that she said anything to right before she died. And I hadn't let myself process any of that. After all of that happened, I was focused on taking care of Adam and trying to, you know, help the rest of my family and everything like that. I never let myself process that.
That's harsh.
And when I say I broke down in the middle of my kitchen floor. Nobody was home.
Oh.
And I laid on my kitchen floor and I sobbed for probably 2 hours. And I couldn't move. But I'm glad no one was home, because I could cry as loud as I needed to. I screamed, I yelled. I had to let all of everything that I've been keeping in, I had to let it out.
Right.
Right.
It's not healthy to keep bottled up, leave it
Not
in.
at all. Not at all. And it was one of those things too, I didn't realize I was keeping it all in until I had that moment.
Right.
And thankfully, you know, I think that was I think that was before, I had read the grief recovery handbook.
Gee, I've heard of that book. I wonder where you got that from.
Gee, I wonder where. That was recommended to me by E. And if you have, if you have experienced grief in your life, and I recommend reading it. I think everybody should read it. I think it can help people that are having issues dealing with grief. I think it could help people who haven't experienced grief. Maybe they can understand better the people that have.
And that's important.
Yeah, it really is important.
Yeah, actually, when it was one of the best things that was ever recommended to me was the Grief Recovery Handbook.
I mean, and I have to say that, it after reading the book, I realized that, I hadn't really let myself grieve for anybody that I've lost. It brought up all of these old hurts that, I thought I had tucked away, and they weren't so tucked away. They were just there waiting to, burst forth and have me notice them, I guess, and deal with them appropriately.
And there's a number of misconceptions about grief, too, that it's in the book, too. Like,
yeah,
when people talk about, I'm going through the 7 stages of grief, no, that's 7 stages of acceptance of having a terminal illness. Grief is a part of that, but it's not the stages of grief.
Right.
Because, like, when you're grieving something, you're not in denial. There is no, that's not a stage of grief. Grief is you've accepted that this is a thing. And that one, that one in particular does get on my nerves a bit when people are like, I'm just going through the 7 stages of grief. I think I'm in denial right now. If you were in denial, you wouldn't say, I think I'm in denial. You would be like, no, this never happened. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I mean, it's, everybody, that's another thing I want to talk about is every person is going to grieve differently. Your experience with grief is not going to be the next person's experience. And there is no wrong way to grieve somebody that you've lost or something that you've lost.
Exactly.
Unless you're violating rights while you're grieving, and then I have issues with that. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. let's not even beat around the bush on that one.
Yeah.
And right now, Kat's saying a few things in there. One of my dad's friends keeps calling. I let it go to voicemail because, and in parentheses, the agreement between he and my dad was that a particular gun, if friend died first, dad kept it. If dad went first, it goes to friend. Dad told me where it is, safe, but it's a pain in the ass to open, and it's been 4 at the time months. He keeps saying blah blah blah. My son could come over and get it. That's awful.
It is awful. It's, putting pressure on someone who has suffered such a loss, and it's callous in my book. It really is. It's just, you shouldn't do it.
Agreed.
Agreed too.
Yeah, as if you're not already going through enough.
Cold.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So much on your plate when you're dealing with loss like that. And that's not to, undermine any other form of loss or anything like that, but we do have to, realize that the loss of a human being that was beloved is on a different level than the loss of, like, a job.
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, just I'm so eloquent today with a. I mean, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
I know I'm feeling that.
You
I think it's because, mental health is a subject we are all familiar with speaking, but how many people truly, really speak about their grief?
right.
We're not supposed to. That's
Exactly.
the problem.
Yes, exactly. We've been, trained by everyone in our life. You're not supposed to keep that stiff upper lip, and you keep on keeping on, but
Yeah. And I think, I mean, and again, it just, I mean, we barely touched upon it, but like even things like I said before, things that could appear positive could still affect you by causing grief.
yes.
And yeah, the best example I can think of at any point in time is getting a promotion. That's supposed to be a great thing, but why would you grieve over that? It's a change in your routine. It's a change from the comfortable and the familiar. You're suddenly now, it's not even that the stress of you have these new expectations. It's, out with the familiar. And that's a big part of what grief is. It's just a change from the familiar.
Yes.
And even people that like embrace change, yeah, they'll still grieve. Because, I mean, no one wants to embrace the change of like losing a parent or a sibling.
Right. No one, I would think.
No one that doesn't have a ton of other issues. And I'm not trying to be like derogatory or anything or insensitive. It's if you really don't grieve the loss of loved ones, there's something going on. And of course, you don't have to grieve even the loss of, like, if your parents are abusive, I don't expect you to grieve their loss. You probably will to some extent, but you might not. I can't speak to those.
Right. It's like,
Right.
when you were mentioning, people who grieve an abusive relationship, and people will, look at them and they don't understand why. Why do you miss this person? Why is this causing you so much hurt? And you have to step back and look at it and think, this is a major change in this person's life. And yes, they bravo to them for getting out of a horrible situation that no human being should ever be in. But they've also lost all the security that they've ever known.
Exactly.
Right.
And even though this is a term I'm not particularly fond of, and I think it should be changed to battered person syndrome does exist. Because it's not just the woman that gets battered at times. Men get abused too.
Yes. Right.
And, that's the other thing, men get it so much worse than women when it comes to showing their emotions, especially anything involving, sadness and mental health and depression and things. They really do have the raw end of the deal on it, because they're told from the time that they're little, be a man, toughen up.
Yep.
Boys don't cry.
That's very true.
And that's something that we actively need to work to change, because it's completely wrong. And
exactly.
I love being an advocate for mental health, but I want to be an advocate for men's mental health too. It's
not just men that suffer.
No.
Yeah, I'm a little upset about that, though. But yeah, no, I mean, thank you very much for all that, and as a guy in this, that I appreciate it. hearing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks that guys will get even a guy getting out of an abusive relationship will still grieve. Possibly.
Right.
It's not just specific to any sex or gender or anything like that. It's not programmed in our DNA based on what's between your legs.
Right.
We grieve. Come to think of it, I don't know if that it's ever actually served a purpose. Even in the hunter-gatherer sense.
Yeah.
It's a trait that's gotten passed on. Why?
It's probably because we're social creatures. We lived in tight-knit communities. We would have to grieve over our loved ones because, bonding. That's how we survived.
Yeah.
It's very true.
And it looks like we got another message in chat.
Oh. Let's see. Kat says, a woman I worked with many years ago was in a physically and mentally abusive marriage. We all knew it. Occasional black eye or arm bruises. He died in a motorcycle accident. All of a sudden, he became a saint. I was flabbergasted.
Yeah, how does that work?
I don't understand that myself, because I feel like you can grieve for a loss, the loss of a life, but if that person was an asshat, they're still an asshat. That it doesn't change just because they are no longer living. I mean, people should... I don't understand how people who have done horrible things to others are suddenly, just raised to this elevated status when they've passed away.
Right.
And I have firsthand experience with that as well.
And actually George Carlin really put it very well. On how, everyone always says, and they're probably in heaven looking down, smiling at us. Yeah, will you ever think that person might be looking up at us, screaming, "Be better! You don't want to be here!"
Exactly. That's, I don't know what is out there after life ends.
We all have there's theories. I mean, and let's face it, nobody knows for sure. Until you're dead, you don't know for sure. As certain as you may feel, you don't know for sure. And I'm not trying to be rude to people that truly believe in what happens.
Yeah, that's why I was struggling too. I was trying to find a way to say that I don't want people to think that I'm attacking them or anything like that. It's just, honestly, I don't know.
Right.
And, I'm one of those people that I'm not going to know until after I pass.
Exactly. And that's how it's going to be for, all of us in the end.
Yes. So,
and if there truly is nothing after death, well, then you won't know.
Exactly.
Right.
And if I get the chance to be a ghost, I'm going to be the most annoying ghost in the history of the world, and I will hover outside of doors and wait till people start getting naughty and then knock on the door to scare the crap out of them. Because I can.
Cock-blocking ghost.
Yeah, time to plan.
Just hang out next to them, just going, ditto, ditto, ditto.
Oh.
And there's more comments.
Oh. Yeah, is it? Let me see here. Janai says, "Oh, that's pretty common and is so frustrating." And Kat says, "It wasn't just her. My friend, there was the same way." I was like, "What? He was awful, cheating, hurting her, etc." It's like, yeah, I get it. That is the most frustrating thing in the world. It still frustrates me to hear a certain person praised when I know what they did to me, when I know what they did to other people.
Right.
How you doing, C?
I'm alright.
Okay.
What about you guys?
I've only shed a couple tears.
Good. It's okay to cry though.
Well, that wasn't out of that was just being emotional about the topic and everything, because this is, like I said, I have a lot of firsthand experience with this stuff, and though my experiences are not going to be everybody else's experience, I can say that I definitely empathize with anyone going through a great loss.
I'm with you on that.
So do I.
I mean, there are certain things, though.
Oh, so Kat just asked how I'm feeling this week. I'm feeling great. No more COVID.
Awesome.
Good.
Hey, Janai, if you're around, which it sounds like you are, you want to call in, buddy? Part of this conversation is largely due to conversations that we had, so yeah. I was actually talking to Janai. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday during my son's t-ball game. And then the idea about, we started talking about grieving processes and whatnot, and then that gave me the idea. I was like, we need an episode about this. So it's her fault. Blame her.
Oh my goodness. Janai says, "Hold on, I'm eating corned beef." Well then, let me just say, as it is St. Patrick's Day, may the wind at your back never be caused from the corned beef and cabbage you had from lunch.
Oh, that's great.
Oh. I'm in a good mood. You know, my birthday's in 2 days, and I have a life-size cutout of Mark Pellegrino in my living room now.
In other words, life is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not in pain right now. Life is real good.
Good.
I'm tired today.
So am I, to be fair.
I was having a hard time getting to sleep last night.
Oh. Sleep was elusive for me last night. I don't think I actually fell asleep until 5 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. That could have all of my nopes. Every single one.
I had a bit of an earache that wouldn't stop.
Ouch.
So
Yeah.
it took a get the right I tried Tylenol for it when it came on, and that didn't touch it, and so then I tried ibuprofen when the appropriate amount of time had passed, and that didn't work, and it was finally in a leave at like 3 a.m. that
Wow.
knocked out the pain. I was like, oh, I can sleep, yay.
Just wolfing the
when I
food
do.
down as much as she can right now. Oh, I woke up around 2 and stayed awake. Yikes!
Oh,
Oh no.
Okay, now when my next day is a day off, I'm okay with that because my favorite hour is 4 a.m. I don't know why, but that is my favorite hour out of all 24 hours in a day. Okay, I know why. It's quiet. It is when the world is the quietest. And this is funny because, like, if you look on online traffic, whatever region you're in at 4 a.m., the traffic is at its absolute lowest. Bars have been closed. Bars closed at 2. After parties usually have wrapped up by 3:30 or so. 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. is the quietest hour of the day. And outside, now that we have daylight savings again, which, thank God, has passed Congress to end it, and now it just needs to go to Joe Biden's desk. Unless it still has to go through the House. Because I know it's gone through Senate. But now, that 4 to 5 a.m., you start getting that little bit of light on the horizon. The early birds start chirping. It is just beautiful.
I have an affinity for late nights like that. I've always felt that the hours between like 3 and 5 a.m., and I know that some people call that the witching hour or whatever, but I've always felt like that's the most peaceful part of the day.
Yeah.
And I'm awake during those hours. I just kind of enjoy it. It's quiet, and I don't know, I do some of my best writing in those hours.
I haven't actually tried writing at that hour. That hour, I'm usually, like, if the weather's okay, you'll find me outside. Just sitting and just taking it in.
The next time you do that, you should take, a tablet with you or pen and paper or something and see if anything pops into your head.
And break the ritual? I don't think so.
I always end up sitting back and just sitting in the quiet, in my room, and I'll be enjoying it probably with my eyes closed and kind of almost in a meditative state. And then a line will pop into my head, and sometimes I ignore it, but if I usually can't, usually a line pops into my head and I have to start writing, even if it doesn't turn out to be something that manifests itself into a finished piece of work. I still have to write it down.
Nice.
Right.
I kind of do the same with music. Yeah, if I were to share the incompleted music.
Yeah. Oh, Jay says, okay, done. Now how do I call in?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I could send the link.
Oh, I guess. It'd be awfully kind of you.
And sent. That was a loud cat.
Yeah, I don't know what his problem is. He's screaming at the sky.
Greebles.
Oh, old man yells at cloud?
Greebles. You're familiar with Greebles, right?
No.
It's a subreddit, r/Greebles.
Okay.
It's what cats chase and see that no one else sees.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
I'll
have to look it up.
Here. So we're just waiting for Jay. Yeah, no, I like it. It's great because it's just all videos of cats freaking out over what only they can see. Greebles.
I kind of like
Oh
watching
my goodness.
But your kitty is very very talkative today.
Oh yes. He just wants to talk, I think. Just wants to yell.
Maybe the kitty has some grief issues and he's letting them out. Maybe. Our podcast fired the kitty.
Or it's Sam Kinison come back. For those of you who don't know, Sam Kinison was probably the original Scream comedian. Wow!
Oh my goodness! I get it. I get it. I get it.
And Jay's muted.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I'll get myself seated so that I am more than just my user pick, too.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah.
so because we do this from time to time, and you did say you're self-employed, and you're actually helping us, do you want to go ahead and plug your company?
What? Silver Rocket's web design?
Yeah. If you go to the bottom of our webpage, you'll see that Silver Rocket's web design's right there.
I never plug my stuff. I'm so swamped. Please don't reach out to me.
I have enough work to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Let's see.
You see, this is where you start bringing on these people called employees.
No, we don't, because we're control freaks and they're all morons. Sorry.
Not wrong. So, we were talking about grief yesterday.
We were, and I don't have as much of it, remember?
Yeah, no, it's a good thing.
So,
yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff yesterday. See, yeah. I've been trying to get Jay on for a little while here. I'm like, we could talk about this. We could talk about this.
There we go. Yeah, I'm a little stubborn, aren't I?
A little?
Just a little. Yeah. So, yeah, grief. I know we were talking about how fleeting it can be.
Yeah.
And did we already discuss this here? Because I think I joined a few minutes late.
That's fine.
Did we? Oh, it has. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, that I know that we were talking about you and me. We both could experience it briefly, like for part of the day intensely, and then it pretty much settles, like not like a prolonged dwelling. And then how it can suddenly just pop up years later or something, just for a few moments again. And I haven't had like major grief in a long time, so.
Well, it's like I can be like, okay, so I lost an uncle of mine that was
right.
I was closer to him than I was to my own dad at times.
Yeah.
And he was a huge Blue Oyster Cult fan. I couldn't even hear Don't Fear the Reaper without breaking down and crying. Even though it wasn't even his favorite song. He actually didn't even care for the song very much.
Oh.
Yeah, because he was like, it was too stadium rocky, too, catering to the crowd. It wasn't what he liked. He liked the more authentic, we're playing this because we love this.
But his dislike, his strong opinions on the song would be enough to be an extra trigger because there's more of an opinion on that song. Yeah. And you have more conversation about why and everything.
Oh, yeah. And I like the song. I always have. I probably always will. But for a long time there, and he's been gone for over 10 years, but for a long time, I would just lose my shit just hearing that song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. With Beach Boys' Don't Worry Baby, because I actually lost two uncles who were very attached to that. One of them is a musician, and he always wanted me to call my youngest uncle and sing it to him when he was struggling and stuff. And I was kicked myself because, I could have, but I didn't. And so that's just one of those ones. And it's just a song that all three of us loved, So, I don't know. Those special songs that I can't listen to it without crying. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where
they
more
both
often,
died recently. Yeah.
more often than not, I'm okay with it now.
Hmm.
But I there are still times that it'll catch me off guard.
Yeah, my Uncle Danny died just a couple years ago, so it's still, yeah, still makes me cry. So, and speaking of grief on that one, oh, that was messed up. So I had another uncle who decided to spread stories about how my favorite uncle died. Made him out to be homeless, found on a park bench. I mean, all kinds of drama. And no, absolutely not. In the
No.
hospital, pneumonia, what the heck? So, that sort of violation of grief, I got mad. I went on battle. Because it's like the opposite of what you were talking about earlier, where somebody, horrible dies and they're suddenly, a saint. This is a perfectly decent person, and we've made up a really weird story about their death now. So it really affected how I grieved and introduced anger into it as well, really fast. So that was a real weird one.
All I have to say is, when I die, I want everyone to tell the story of how I was in the ocean fighting a great white shark, and a tornado came and sucked us up, and I wound up killing the shark before we hit the ground.
Deal. I'm on it. Can I write it?
A fun way to die.
Because knowing my luck, I'm gonna wind up, choking to death on my own spit. If I swallowed wrong.
Me too. Oh, absolutely.
My boobs are gonna kill me, so that's just
Yeah.
I might kill my boobs, actually.
Oh yeah, Jay, you haven't been around it long enough to understand Bexy's killer boobs.
yes.
Literally, gravity has tried to force her to be suffocated by her own boobs by pulling her off the bed.
My,
That's just mean. What are they thinking?
I don't. I mean, obviously they were very angry with me that day.
Apparently. I mean, what did you do, woman?
Them enough, I don't know.
I think that your boobs are just a manifestation of Hashimoto's.
Basically, they kill everything with fire.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Yeah, and we were also talking about how, with me, because I had gone through so many deaths, second grade. So long story as short as I could make it. There was a family that was friends of the family from before I was even born. Good friends with my grandparents, really good friends with my parents. I think they're a little bit older than my parents, but they weren't that much older. Anyway, when I was in second grade, their son was a senior in high school, and he committed suicide. He had a outbuilding on the property that was his room. He had just gotten back from a party. He had a girlfriend. He was about to graduate high school with a 4.0, really good grades. Was going off to college, and he just went into the room and took a shotgun to his head. No warning, no note. And yeah, I was in second grade. That was one of my first losses because he was, to me, a big brother.
Wow.
So that hurt a lot. Dealing with that. And a lot of people are like, well, you were only in second grade. How much did you know? Well, I knew I couldn't see him anymore.
Yeah, you can know a lot in second grade. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then a few years later, I had a little gap there for a little bit there, but a few years later, I wound up it was my next door neighbor. He worked for the railroads in the area. It was before the Southern Pacific and Union merged to become Union Pacific. He was working with Southern Pacific at the time. And what he did for Southern Pacific is he went around. Now, if you ever lived near railroads and you went to school, you always had that one presentation a year where everyone gets together, like an assembly in the MP room or the gym or whatever. And everyone you have the guy from the railroad, and they start talking about railroad safety, and they show you how sharp the metal straps can get by going across the gravel, and they use it to cut carrots and stuff. Any of you familiar with this?
No.
Remember, my dad was one of the railroaders in our town.
Oh, so yeah, you're familiar with that presentation, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, kinda.
Yeah, so he was on his way back home from a town about an hour south of my hometown, and a big rig lost control, went across the freeway, and head-on collision. Yeah, he obviously he didn't survive. I still remember the last words I ever spoke to him. I was in third grade, fourth grade when that happened. That one tore me up. As much as the one when I was in second grade hurt, this one really tore me up. Because we were going... he treated me like I was one of his kids. Yeah, he treated me great. I loved him to death. And I was supposed to go and hang out with him, and he was going to show me some things about trains and stuff that night.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. That one was not very nice. And then, not too long after that, it's like I started losing aunts, uncles, grandaunts, granduncles, friends. I started losing all sorts of people all around me. It got really bad really fast.
Yeah. Sometimes it seems like it happens that way. I've had that happen with aunts and uncles. It just seemed like back to back to back losses.
Yeah, a couple of years ago we lost Granny and an aunt and an uncle all within a few months.
Ugh.
All on the same side of the family.
Oh.
And it was a huge hit to that side of the family, and we're still processing that one. That was intense, and just so many losses really, really, really fast. To where we ended up having a memorial the next year for all three of them at once, because it was just all at the same time. So, and yeah, they were all the same family. So.
Wow. Yeah, when my first day of finals for the end of the year, my sophomore year, my maternal grandfather passed away. He had heart issues his entire life. I was raised being cautious for my grandfather, because obviously. And we woke up to the banging on the walls early early in the morning. And it was my uncle, the one that the Don't Fear the Reaper uncle. Yeah, because it was his dad. My mom immediately got her hopes up, saying he got his heart, because he went in originally, because he was ranked number 1 in California for a heart transplant, number 2 in the nation. Except that if he went to this hospital in the Bay Area, I'm not going to name the hospital, he got bumped up to number 1 and number 1. State and the nation. And they changed up his medications. As, it's fairly normal. Hey, these medications you've been off for a while, we're starting to see some issues. We're going to change up your meds. Well, he had a heart attack. They went to go install a one of an external pacemaker / defibrillator. One that's he'd have on a pole that he carries around wherever he goes. The operation was only supposed to take about an hour. He was in there for 6 hours, and he died on the table. when they started talking about, the cause of death, it was along the lines of pick your organ. He started, it was basically his organs started failing almost in alphabetical order. As they get one back and running, another one would fail. But yeah, my mom got, came out, Dad got his heart, and it didn't feel right. Good news travels by phone.
True.
Bad news travels by in person. And yeah, so that happened. That one was really hard to grieve. I had to go to school not that day, not that first day. I didn't go to school, but I had to go the next day, and it was tough. It was really, really tough.
Oh yeah.
He was one of my favorite people on the planet, and he's gone. He's just gone.
Right.
And that is so hard to really explain. It's like, how does that happen? That, they're here one day, they're gone the next. But I mean, that's exactly how it happens. They're here one day, they're gone the next.
Yeah, sometimes it feels more sudden than others, though. Like of the three that died a couple of years ago, one of them was very sudden. Our uncle woke up, rolled over. She's dead in bed from an epilepsy thing. She was really diabetic, but whereas others have been slower. And like because two of my grandparents died before I was born, and the other two died by the time I was 7. But the last 2 grandparents, I had to live with them while they were dying each time. So one of them, it was when I was 3, and the other one I was 7.
Wow. Yeah, I was very fortunate.
It messed me up for a while as a kid. I really, I would get really scared every time I was sick. And I was always afraid I was dying for like when I was up to 5 or something like that.
I can believe that.
And,
especially if you're told, oh yeah, grandma's really sick or grandpa's really sick, and then they're gone.
That's
then
what I was told.
Sick, and it's
she
like
got
that
really
association.
sick and died. That's what my mom said accidentally, and she regretted it. She got really sick and died. And so when I got really sick, I thought I was going to die.
And for a kid, even a little sick is really sick. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And that's how I got so close to like the uncle that my other uncle lied about how he died. When I was living with my grandpa, the 3 youngest aunts and uncles, they all lived at home. This is out of a family of like 11 siblings between full, half, and step. So there were a lot big age range there. But those 3 felt like siblings because I lived with them, and they were much younger, and they were, about 10 years older than me. So not that bad.
Right.
Anyway, so we all went through that real slowly together, and that's hard too. Really hard.
Yeah, for me, I actually knew all of my grandparents very well, all 4 of them. I was fortunate in that regard. Apparently, I was alive for at least 2 of my great-grandparents. One of my great-grandparents, the mother of my maternal grandmother, she died while I already had graduated high school. Great grandmother.
Yeah, I think I was in middle school when my great grandmother died. Yeah, my 2 of my greats way outlived my grandparents. Yep. Crazy.
Yeah. You just never know. As a matter of fact, what's funny is that my current wife, yeah, she was at my great grandmother's wake.
Wow.
I mean, what can you say?
Wow.
The good die young, the evil live forever.
Oh.
She was not a nice woman.
Yeah, I have a great grandmother who's pretty legendary as well.
My great grandmother gave birth to a child who was born deaf, and she never bothered to learn sign language.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
yeah. There you go.
That's pretty bad. I mean, there's no no nice way to say it. That's just bad.
That's just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. Oh wow. Mm. Yeah, I because I didn't have my grandparents after, such a young age. When I got married, I adopted my husband's grandparents so so fast and so hard.
They're my
It
grandparents now.
It worked. It did. It went well. But I do genealogy and stuff, so I just was obsessed with interviewing them and getting all kinds of tapes and stuff because, all that loss, I just wanted to make up for it anyway. Actually, because of all that loss and various disconnections throughout my family through like disowning and stuff, that's why I became so involved in genealogy because I was trying to fill all these holes of missing family.
That
And
makes sense.
yeah, it healed a little something for me, but also frustrated me because there's never just enough that personal stuff. So, but it was interesting because I was very obsessed for that very reason, and I was very aware of the reason as I started endeavoring into that when I was about 13 or 14. 14.
Yeah, I wish that I would have gotten into it because my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, she was into it, and I don't know that anyone picked up where she left off.
Let me.
I'm
not
don't even.
kidding.
I don't even know where to find any of her stuff that she did.
Doesn't matter. I know where to start.
I could tell you
I've been doing this that long.
I could tell you right now that you'll have a very hard time getting my how do I put it? My paternal side. That's going to be difficult.
That happens. Yep.
Mainly because one family, it was a Jewish family that fled Germany just before World War II that went to Poland. Was a Jewish family that got onto the boat from Poland to America, and a Catholic family came off with a different name.
I think I remember us talking about that because we had similar.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're both brick walls. I mean, I can't get anywhere on that either.
Yeah.
My Polish side. Yep. And that's hard. But it was always just sort of a way to deal with things, especially after someone died. Every time somebody died, part of my grieving process was to dive into their ancestry some more. And it never failed. I shouldn't have done it because it never failed. I'd find something that I wished they were still alive for me to share with them every time. But it was just sort of a nice way to connect and find extra things. And just sort of my way.
Yeah. And there's been enough in my life, in my family. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, we were also talking about how, like, for me, it's gotten to the point now that I've gotten so good at dealing with death of people that I'm fairly close to. But of course, I haven't lost a parent. I haven't lost a sibling. Well, I only have one sibling. And I haven't lost a child, so I can only say for so far. But usually I have one day of just intense grief.
Yeah.
But it's just one day.
Right.
And then the next day, I'm mostly okay.
Yeah, I remember we were saying that and how you were saying that you didn't relate to people being in denial. And then we were like, wait a minute, I think we haven't experienced the right death for that yet.
Yeah, because that's one of the reasons that when you came on, I was like, yeah, we need to talk about this one because I did say that it does bother me, but you are absolutely right. You might actually go into denial about the loss of a child. We have all seen the stories.
Yeah. Right.
Hell, there's a great TV series on Apple TV Plus that's about it. At least it's a major part of it. The Servant. Right?
Yes.
Bexy?
So good.
And the loss of a spouse. I haven't experienced that either. And you might go into denial over that as well.
Yeah, from everything
Yeah, I
I've
think
been told, that you're more that it's easier to get over the death of a spouse than it is a divorce. Been through a divorce. Yeah, it probably would have been easier had she just died. And I'm not saying that to be mean.
Yeah, because no. Divorce is more personal, and you play a different role in it. And I can see where it's just a little more interactive, I guess you could say.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
no denying that, we're divorced, but all that personal shit that comes with it is just...
Yeah. And it doesn't go away.
No.
Yeah, especially if you've got kids or something. Yeah.
Me? Kids?
You? Yeah. Stop having them.
That's the thing about grief is, people will tell you, oh, it'll go away eventually. It doesn't ever go away. I mean, honestly, it's like glitter, and you can throw a handful of it up in the air, but when you try to clean it up, you're never going to get it all. And
I think that is the greatest... I've never heard someone describe grief as glitter. Oh my god!
I mean, it's like, even after the event happens, you're still going to find glitter tucked into the corners. It's always going to be there.
Right.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
you're going to sell the house. Someone's going to go, okay, it's time to replace this carpet. Pull it up. Pull up the padding, and on the board, where did all this fucking glitter come from?
No, sorry. Don't mind my grief.
Right?
Oh. Mm.
I'm probably the only person in the world who can make grief sparkly. I don't know.
I think you can brag about that. That's braggable for sure.
Oh, most definitely braggable.
I mean, I don't know. I like to be able to, I realized that when I was younger and I lost my father, I was never able to properly express my feelings the way I felt or anything about the situation at all. I would hug the teddy bear that he bought me and cry into it every night. And, but I don't remember like a parent or any of my elders ever, taking me aside and asking me how I was really doing about it.
Oh, wow.
And so that became something that, when I stop and think about it, I mean, it shaped my life a lot. The very first poem I ever wrote was about losing my dad. And I was in second grade.
Mm.
And, now poetry is a huge thing in my life. And I don't know that I ever would have been inspired to write had I not had that loss. I something clicked even in my 7-year-old brain that this was how people weren't hearing me, but this was how I could still get my feelings out.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you learned how to, use poetry. It just sucks the story behind why.
Yeah.
Right.
It does, but then again, I've written stuff on tons of subjects, and I'm getting some of it's been published, and another one is currently being published now, and I'm pretty proud of that fact.
Oh, yeah.
And if it hadn't been for the initial grief that set everything off, who knows?
All right, you need to make a poem about stinky cornholes.
Oh, good Lord. Don't do anything he says.
Oh,
She
challenge
tends
accepted.
I know how she is with challenges.
Hello, we share the same non-biological parents.
Basically.
I will have to I will have to do that after the show. I actually do have a favorite poem about death.
Oh.
And it's not mine. It's by Maya Angelou, and it's When I Think of Death. Because when I think of death, and of late the idea has come with alarming frequency, I seem at peace with the idea that a day will dawn when I will no longer be among those living in this valley of strange humors. I can accept the idea of my own demise, but I am unable to accept the death of anyone else. I find it impossible to let a friend or relative go into that country of no return. Disbelief becomes my close companion, and anger follows in its wake. I answer the heroic question, "Death, where is thy sting?" with "It is here in my heart and my mind and memories."
That is great.
Good.
Thank you.
I will always find a poem.
Yeah. It's like, I could always find a song lyric.
Exactly.
Of course, I think my favorite poem is Here I Sit All Broken-Hearted.
Oh, gosh.
Jay hasn't heard this
what
one?
you're talking about.
Here I sit, all broken-hearted. Tried to shit, but only farted. Sitting in a
good
cloud
Lord.
of vapor. Some asshole used all the paper. Some come here to shit and stink, while others come to sit and think. I come here to scratch my balls and read the poetry upon the walls.
You have never changed.
No. Jay and I have known each other since high school.
Yeah, since I was, 15?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Next year it'll be 30 years.
Yeah. Oh, so, Betsy and C, you know that picture that I sent of the young me with the headphones, and the wires coming down and me kind of pointing at something? That was from Jay.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's my bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were babies.
Yeah, and we thought we weren't.
Oh, I think I thought I was.
Oh, I didn't think I was, but then I look at it like, jeez.
Did I act mature? Did I look like I was even trying to act mature?
Do you now?
No.
This is why we're still friends.
Like, talking to the girl with tons of stuffed animals laying all around her. Do I look like I'm mature at all? Nope. I still sleep with the teddy bear my daddy got me.
Aw, yeah, but that's super special.
I'm looking over at my bed at the stuffed angel pussy, which is from Neopets about 20 years ago. Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, no.
Maturity? Never heard of it.
Hey, Care Bears.
Oh, Care Bears are the best.
I still have my stuffed owl that I got before I even got into kindergarten.
I just had an avalanche of stuffed animals fall on my head.
My
Alien.
my owl lives on the nightstand next to me, next to my bed.
Oh.
And my dad will remember that owl forever. Peepers.
Aww.
I wouldn't go anywhere without it. School trips, I had it.
I love the name. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, he has big old eyes. Jeepers Creepers.
Mm.
But, better than the movie. Because that movie was crap.
Yeah.
It was literally the scariest movie I had ever seen until one thing happened and the entire movie went off the rails and became stupidest fucking movie I ever watched.
I still thought it was creepy and I hated it. But I'm a wimp.
Well, you're allowed to be a wimp.
Yeah.
We were talking about grief.
Yeah, about that.
Hey! Kat did an awesome in the chat. Kat put the word peepers, exclamation point, with an owl next to it. And it's the same color, and the owl has the same coloration. Jay went to go see.
I did.
Did you? I saw you vanish.
I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it?
In the chat?
Oh, well.
Not our chat.
Yeah. Huh?
Not our chat, the podcast chat.
That's where I'm at.
Oh.
But it's showing up in all different... I think I just have it. And let me click on it again, because it's showing up all in different orders.
Oh.
Weird. Yeah, I don't have anything... Oh, adorable name. There, I see it. Okay. Oh.
But honestly, and I'm not. I wish we had a sponsor. It'd be nice if we were sponsored by like the Grief Recovery Handbook or the Grief Recovery Clinic. I have considered going and becoming a licensed grief counselor or grief recovery counselor, for it to be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, I'm not really like plugging the book because they're paying us anything, but the Grief Recovery Handbook is probably one of the single most impactful books in my life. It has helped me so much to be able to not just cope until it doesn't hurt so much and then stuff it away, which is what most of us do. It actually allowed me to truly truly grieve someone. And a lot of people have this misconception that if you actually truly grieve someone, that somehow they become less important or they vanish from your mind. They don't. Mm. You're just not tortured with the negative emotions anymore. You celebrate the positive.
Right.
And I can't put into words just how powerful that really is.
Yeah. Yeah, when those finally overcome the sadness.
Yeah. Because now it's like I could think of my uncle that, the Don't Fear the Reaper song, and it doesn't kill me. I think of all the happy things, like all the ski trips that he took me on. The fact that we both tried eggnog together for our first time.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And became completely addicted to it. Oh, God, I still love eggnog. So many different things, I can think about friends that I lost in car accidents while I was still in high school and not be torn apart over it. I get to think about, the time that he was goofing off with the citronella candle and got some of the wax in his eye, and he had permanently, for the rest of his life, he had blurred vision out of that eye because he decided that he didn't want to go to the ER.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I remember guiding him through a new moon night because my night vision was actually really good, and his was, garbage. For lack of a better word, he had really bad night vision. I could think about that guy who was practically a brother of mine way back when who got the nickname Flipper because of how many times he crashed cars.
Oh no.
I can think about my grandmother playing the piano that's now sitting in my living room. And how she would only play it for her grandkids. She wouldn't even play it for her husband or her own kids, but she'd play it for her grandkids.
That's awesome.
And that's all thanks to the Grief Recovery Handbook. I don't have to feel bad about it. I don't. And it was actually my therapist that recommended this book to me. Made a very amazing point, which is that some of the happiest people she knew were people that grieved every day. They would wake up and they would grieve whatever it was that needed to be grieved. And then it was gone. It was dealt with. It wasn't hanging around anymore. And if something else came up that changed, that they had to grieve, they grieved. That's a powerful thing.
Yes, it is.
Again, I'm not trying to say everybody needs to run out and get this book. I'm just saying this book, it changed my life.
It's a pretty amazing book. It changed my life too.
$15, brand new. And you can buy it used. It's not very big. It's best to do with someone that's gone through the process. It actually is someone that you can trust, because you're going to spill the everything, the good and the bad, the deepest, darkest secrets that you've ever kept, stuff like that. I mean, you're going to spill everything, and you have to be able to trust them, and then they have to do the same to you. And I mean, you could do it alone. It's just easier if you go with someone that's done it before.
Gee, who would I do that with?
Hi.
I'm kidding.
I started with Bexy, and then life got fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that and proud of Bexy for continuing, even though I couldn't be there.
Yeah. Once I got started, it was something that I knew I had to finish.
My only complaint with that book is how often they say in the first quarter of the book, just trust us, keep reading. Just trust us, keep reading. Okay, I get it.
Oh, stop. Yeah.
There's no good single point of entry for the process. You know, so to speak, everything builds upon itself, so you have to get that foundational knowledge. Now, it does give you the foundation, but even that foundation is dependent upon other parts of the foundation that you haven't gotten yet. By the time you get about halfway through the book, it all starts really clicking. It all starts really making sense. And then you start having all these aha moments about, oh, so that's why they talked about that back in chapter 1. But they don't really need to keep hammering it in every third paragraph until you get there.
Yeah.
That is my only complaint. That is, like, literally, that is it. And I mean, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, that is so minor. You know, it's almost like you look at the stars in the sky and go, you know, it'd be nice if there's just one more star right there. That's that minor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely, I mean, anyone that I love and trust and know, I would happily go through this book with them. Time's not really great right now for it, but I would do everything I can to try to help out. May not be able to do the sit down and do the face-to-face FaceTime, because you should. Especially if you're actually face-to-face. Oh, make sure you have tissues. Dear God, make sure you have tissues. The book, even while you're reading the book.
So many tissues.
Even reading the book, you're going to go through tissues. Doing the assignments. You know, this one of those things. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. It really is.
Yes.
It sounds like something I should not be doing right now.
Considering what I know that's going on right now, might be a little much. That might.
You don't want me crying more?
Yeah, I do.
No.
I never said I was nice. I don't know where this misconception comes from. I'm caring. I'm compassionate. But I'm not nice.
You're an asshole.
I
know
am.
that.
I am.
Yeah, he knows I'm an asshole too, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're all rectums of a wrinkle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely for you, I would hold off a little bit. You're going, yeah.
I will. Yeah.
Your life right now, I would not, I wouldn't trade. Sorry, no, I would not trade places. I wouldn't wish it upon, well, there's a few people I would wish it upon, if we're being honest, but not very many. Because you're going through hell right now.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you don't want to go into details on this podcast, even years from now. That's fine. You're going through a lot.
Well, I don't have to, I can summarize generally.
That's up to you. It's your story to tell.
What did it do? It began last summer with a really rare, bad reaction to the Pfizer vaccine that sent me to the ER bleeding. And I had to then change my entire lifestyle. Lost 60 pounds now, which is great, except whatever. My mom, in the meantime,
Oh, we are going all in.
yeah, sure, why not?
Woo!
Was in denial of the reaction, even though I had gone to specialists and stuff, whatever. And it happened twice after each shot, just the worst one was after the second. But so she went all out on denial on that and tried to give me foods that might make it worse and stuff. So I have since, for various reasons, lots of various reasons, cut off contact there, which also meant less contact with my dad. Well, that's fun. Then
You have a weird.
possibly...
Your definition of fun is a little bit odd.
I know, right? I know. I just have such a great time with this. And then beginning in the fall, so this all overlaps too. The marriage started falling apart. So now we're separated and working on stuff, hopefully. And other things.
But you're not traditionally separated.
No, we're living together while it happens. Yeah, because there's a huge housing shortage and we don't have enough money to, afford separate abodes. The housing shortage here is because of a huge fire that came through and burned up like most of a couple cities. And so now all of our hotels are being converted into housing, stuff like that. It's really transformed
It's
our
one thing
community.
when apartments turn into condos. It's another thing when a hotel becomes apartments.
Yeah.
Really
It's
tiny
completely,
apartments.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But it's better than
Really
nothing
huge.
at all.
So we're living together while separated. And then, yeah, other relationship complications arose. So that's been great.
No
I don't
sarcasm.
need to go into those details, but yeah, just a lot.
I mean, just any one of those alone is a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my mom suggested that I was not sleeping well because surely I was bipolar because I'm not sleeping well. She'd already ruled out me doing strange drugs. That's what she called them.
As opposed
Because
to the normal
I-
drugs.
Yeah, because I didn't
Yeah.
have sores. I didn't have sores, and none of my friends, looked like they could be suppliers. So it must instead be bipolar, whatever. But I mean, really, your diagnosis is that I haven't been able to sleep through this?
It's like, I understand. It's like, I can understand that. Hey, if you look up symptoms for bipolar, lack of sleep is when you're in a manic state. Got it.
Yeah.
But what happens when you're
Definitely
in a depressive
not manic.
state? Yeah, when you're depressive, you fucking sleep. So, no, that ain't it.
Now I'm having to deal with facing childhood abuse, dealing with being raised by a narcissistic mother and stuff. So I'm finally going through some therapy to deal with all that. I forgot that there's that part
I
too.
feel that.
Yeah. And when it comes to, I mean, you want to go into detail on how things are with your mom? I mean, you already got to the point with what she is. If you're going to go all the way,
You want me to do this now?
do you want to? Do you want to?
Oh, I don't care.
We only have an hour and a half left. We could always pick this up another
Are you
episode.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Well, it doesn't take me that long, huh?
long story short, you cut her out of your life.
Yeah.
Completely.
She did call today.
No?
She does call now and then, and I do pick up occasionally.
Brave.
Because I want to know about my dad.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. She kept it really light, just asked a few interview questions about how I'm doing, like with work and stuff. So it was very safe topic stuff. And then it was done. It wasn't a bad one this time. I mean, it's always awkward because I don't want to talk to her. But it was the previous one where she was saying that had spent a good deal of time Googling to find out what is wrong with me.
Because it's you.
I actually got off that phone call. That was the one about the strange drugs and bipolar and everything. I got off that phone call laughing. because it was so preposterous. It was like, this is funny. I mean, this is actually funny now. I felt like I graduated in that phone call. But no, I've recently discovered just how much of my childhood was not normal. But this is not about grief, Eric.
Yes, it is. It's grieving the loss of a childhood that you should have had.
Yeah, I mean, we could also
True.
talk about how I had completely forgotten that your mom completely railed me.
I know. I told you about that today. Yeah.
Yeah, like
She was mean to you. She was really mean to you.
So it's no secret, I had a child when I was in high school. It's why I did a super senior year. Yeah, so she got pregnant. I'm actually still. That's a story. You know what? I should do that as a story in and of itself because it is.
Yes, you could.
You know what? If we have another day that we don't have someone, I'll just go into detail on that because it's worth it. I want your beer.
Just took the last sip.
So, got to go pregnant right at the end of the first semester of my senior year, going into the second semester. And parents started meddling with the best intentions because my parents truly had the best intentions. Her mom truly had the best intentions. But they didn't see eye to eye. We got pulled into all sorts of different directions over this. We wound up splitting up, and I wound up extremely suicidal, and I decided I needed to cut some stress out of my life. What can I cut out now, and what can I come back to later? Name drop? Who did? Kat just said name drop. Who name dropped? Was it me?
I know. It was me. I'm sorry. I did it. That's why I was like, oops, sorry.
Oh, well, it happens. You name dropped me. I'm the most commonly name dropped, so whatever.
Okay.
It's punishment for me basically going to the previous co-host that I had. Okay, we got to be careful not to name drop it. With like 5 minutes, I name dropped.
Well, it's also, I joined up and had my full name in the chat, so that was excellent of me. Anyway, keep going.
No, you're totally unrelated, Jay. Anyway,
Yeah.
So I decided I could come back to high school. I could come back. So that's what I did. I cut out high school, and I wound up failing my final semester of English, final semester of history. Easy enough to make up. Yeah, so we're split up. She's going to have the baby. And apparently I was over at Jay's house, and I got sat down by Mom, and I don't remember any of this. I genuinely don't remember any of this.
She was screaming at him about responsibility, saying, you're not ready for a kid. I mean, she was just hammering him. It was mean.
That sounds
Really mean.
brutal.
And I remember none of this.
He was like a brother. I mean, he was over all the time. So she, I guess, felt like she had familiarity and rights, but no.
You lived a block away from me. Of course I was over all the time.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean she had that right. And that was just mean. And you did, you stopped coming by for quite a while after that.
Oh, I'm sure I did.
Oh, you had to. You had to for your own protection.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think I had much choice. I think that decision was taken out of my hands. I mean, I could have, but I mean, I've always been conflict avoidant. I'll go into other people's conflicts, no problem. My own? No. Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
She's pretty ruthless. And, yeah, very abusive.
I remember
how I realized.
Oh, I was going to say, I remember how mercilessly she mocked your brother for what he was doing. He thought he was doing the right thing when he wiped and put it in the garbage can. And she was
I mean, come on. He was,
ruthless.
7 or 8? I mean,
yeah, he was just a little kid.
Yeah.
Kids do kid things.
I don't remember her doing that. Oh, God. It was just constant. I have a lot of friends who have contacted me saying that they remembered how horribly she treated him, that she just wouldn't leave him alone.
Yeah, no wonder he ran.
And we had a friend who lived with us for a while after she was orphaned, and it was her senior year, and she was just a wonderful kid. This is not somebody who ever misbehaved or anything. But
I
again,
mean,
she
we're
could
talking
not do
about
anything right.
we're talking about a former love interest of mine that we dated. So yeah, she's a sweetheart. Yes, we dated.
Remember you? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
We dated.
And cool.
Yeah, she.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she contacted me and said that my mom was so mean to her. She hurt her a lot, and that it took her years to stop hating her. Because my mom, just wouldn't stop picking on her for liking ranch too much, for having too many shampoos in the shower, would just sit her down every day and just list off everything she was doing wrong. And finally kicked her out too. And she was just such a good kid and an orphan,
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job. You kicked out an orphan, you heartless.
Yeah. Another friend of mine, this would have been in our late 20s. We already had children. My mom flipped out because the friend had postpartum depression and forgot that I had lent her something, a crib, and she sold it or got rid of it somehow. Whatever, she got rid of it. And my mom flipped out. She got possessive. And I mean, I wasn't thrilled because I wanted to have another kid, and now I have to get another crib. But my mom was furious, and she got on the phone with her and just had her in tears by the end of the call. I mean, it was just awful. And so we recently discussed that, and it was healing for her because it is something that has bugged her all this time. The fact that she has hurt my friends, that's so strange.
Yeah, your friends, like my kids' friends, they're my kids' friends. I'm not their parent. Will I try to help steer them in the right direction if they come for me for advice? Well, duh. Mm-hmm. Of course. I'm not going to be like, go talk to your parents about that. Oh, you came to me. So you see something in me that okay, let's do this. Yeah. But I'm not going to ream somebody else's kid.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, to this day, laughing about the time when I was 8 and she hit me over the head with a hairbrush and broke the hairbrush on my head. And she just laughs. Oh, it's so funny, and I had normalized it. I laughed with her. Oh yeah, that was funny, huh? And now I'm like, that's not funny.
That was fucking child abuse.
Yeah, wait, that's not funny at all. And yeah, she did a lot of that kind of stuff.
It's like when one of my uncles was being a complete ass to my grandma while she was cooking, and she turned around and wrapped a wooden spoon on his head and broke it. He kind of deserved it. That's different. He was asking for it, and he was a teenager. He was asking for it.
A teenager can take it, yeah.
Yeah, but a kid? No, come on.
Yeah, I was 8, yeah. And when I was 10, she lifted me off I was cowering in the closet, on my closet floor, because I knew she was going to try to hit me. So she grabbed me by the hair and lifted me off the floor by it.
Because that's better than getting hit?
I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that either.
And stuff like that, and then...
But she had to be the cool mom.
Yes, she was very into being everyone else's other mom, she'd call it. And she loved it if they said that she was cool. So until I guess they got too close, and then she got mean. I don't know. She can only be nice for so long. Well, she is almost 70 years old and has 0 friends at this point in her life.
That's
0.
Usually a very strong tell.
Yeah. And she gets mad at me if I reconnect with a friend who I had, had a falling out with some years ago or something. It's like, how can you do that?
Oh, you mean like me?
Like you. Yes, she would love to hear about that right now, huh?
Oh, God, you should tell her. You should tell her.
I should, but I require talking to her.
Well, next time she calls, it'd be like, hey, guess what? He has 5 kids.
I almost did mention you today I was like talking about Girl Scouts because it's Girl Scouts tonight. And I was like, oh yeah. And I did tell her that I had quit leading Girl Scouts. And I almost told her, yeah, Eric's kids have it every week. And I thought, oh, she'd love to hear his name dropped. Oh, sorry, I did it again. And I just said that that I did it even.
The tally is going up, up, up. We have a name drop counter for each season.
This is gonna be me. Oh, you don't. Yeah. Oh man. Sorry. We're too close. We're too close. I can't call you anything else.
We've known each other forever, so yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, ah. Oh well. So anyway, yeah, would have been fun to drop your name.
I dare you.
Oh, I'll do it sometime. I am not scared.
Yeah, so, C, you want to say goodnight? It sounds like you're about to leave.
Yeah, I'm very tired. I'm very close to just passing out on you guys, and I don't want to.
I wouldn't mind, but your phone battery might.
Yeah, exactly. It just dies. But I wanted to tell you, Jay, it was very nice meeting you, and I hope you come on again someday.
I don't think I have a choice. I mean, you met this guy. He's gonna bully me into it. We should talk about bullying.
Yes, that would be a good topic.
And how we bully each other.
Yeah, that would be it. Just exchanging stories the whole time.
But yeah.
And then there's the time when and there's the time when good night.
Bye.
I still remember the Dungioni and the videos that we made.
And the Dungioni that gave you strep throat?
I remember that. I also remember the video and the acting, and yeah. I might
still have those videos.
I'm still rather proud of the gag about me sitting on the toilet and you coming up looking at the ghost thing. I'm like, I'm glad I was already sitting here.
You know, I think I transferred those to DVD sometime back. I'm going to go through.
Oh. Please to give. Want.
Please. Let's hope. Let's hope. Yep. I'll look for them. I'll make it out a project tomorrow. Maybe tonight.
That would be awesome.
I know I have some. Yeah, we can definitely embarrass you. Yeah, never.
Yeah, let me know let me tell you how I feel about it being embarrassed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about right. And how I feel about being fazed by it.
We really do have a lot in common.
Yep.
And it looks like Bexy's falling asleep.
I know. We're just sitting here babbling like as if we're just on the phone.
I'm not.
Maybe not the.
I
maybe
got
not the best
quiet
approach.
because some of the things that you were talking about in narcissistic mother, that's kind of like my life.
Oh, so you get it. You get it.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm just catching on, and my therapist even said her mom was narcissistic, so she instantly. We're working a lot on that. Oh, have you? Was it your mother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, have you read the book yet? Will I Ever Be Good Enough?
No.
It's a handbook for daughters of narcissistic mothers.
I'm going to have to buy this.
Yes. And
that was a question that very much echoed through my mind my entire life.
Yeah.
I can believe
and
that.
And it's all because I was not the picture perfect daughter that she wanted. I was not skinny and eat, and I was the mistake.
Ugh. And you know what? With that kind of personality, you can never not be the mistake because nothing's good enough for them.
Nothing. Never.
So, yeah.
Kind of like a particular cultural mob that we have right now.
Yeah. The other thing you want me to talk about, but not right now.
Nah. But, like the whole cancel culture thing, you never apologize to the mob because it's never good enough.
No. And don't give away your power. Come on.
No.
I hate it every time somebody apologizes. It drives
I
me
mean,
nuts.
honestly,
Really, I sit there and scream. It's like, don't do it. Oh,
Yeah, the
you
last thing you ever do is apologize to people that don't actually care about apologies. They only care about punishing.
Yeah, they only care about the mob high because that's
Yeah.
what they're getting out of it. It is just the mob high,
Yep.
and
I think those were probably,
nothing matters.
I'm sorry, might have been the most spoken words of my life. If there was, a counter that counted every time I apologized for something that I
Mm.
absolutely had no hand in, or, I have nothing to do with, but somehow it's
Yep,
always my fault.
yep,
Yep.
I mean, like, the whole world, everything that was wrong in the world was somehow blamed on me.
yeah.
And it's a horrible feeling
It
when
is.
when
I
you look
can't.
at these
I
people
yeah.
who are supposed to love you, and you're like, why are they doing this? What is so fundamentally wrong with me? And that's exactly how I took it. That something was just completely messed up inside of me, that
Yeah.
I couldn't be accepted by the people who are supposed to love me.
But Bexy, blood is thicker than water.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
I wish people really, really, really knew that whole quote.
I don't. Jay, do you know the full quote?
Oh God, no! Is this another one of your things?
No.
It's
You know the
it's-
saying.
good.
The saying that you always hear is "blood is thicker than water."
Yeah.
That's not what it is.
That's not the
whole
quote.
saying.
Oh,
The
do
whole
tell.
saying is, um, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which basically means that the friends and family you choose for yourself are more important.
Are more important than the family that you were given.
Fantastic. That is truly fantastic.
There's
I
a
love
lot of quotes out there that are like that.
Yes.
It's like it's almost scary just how many there are that have been twisted to favor the selfish.
it. Yeah. And disempower the masses.
Yeah.
Your average person.
The saying, and a prime example of it, the saying "the customer is always right" is only part of it. The full quote is "the customer is always right in matters of opinion."
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, so when
Okay.
it's something factual like, yeah, that's the price. No, they could
They're
be
not
very
always.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that never being good enough part. That reminds me, I was recently telling a friend how in high school, my mom hounded me all the time because I did not have sex in high school. But she kept saying, have you had sex yet? Have you had sex yet? Why haven't you had sex yet? Have you had sex with him? I mean, went out one time. Did you have sex? And she was just obsessed with it. And no, I didn't. Okay. I mean, God, normally isn't that supposed to be something that a parent is striving for? That I didn't. But even that wasn't good enough. No. But she was very obsessed with sex stuff anyway. She kind of twisted me that way as well. But
Yeah, I was just.
I don't know how much I want to go into that here right now, but yeah.
No, I get it. Believe me.
Mm. Is
mine
that
was
a part of it?
Mine was like completely disinterested in everything that I wanted to do. I like to sing. I joined a choir. Refused to take me to concerts or, to take me to these school events that I need to attend that are part of my grade.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can I? I'm graded on this, and you're refusing to take me, so yeah, so I'd have to find a ride or walk or do whatever, which is fine. I'm fairly self-reliant because of all of this, but it's just like I looked around at all the kids around me that had parents that showed up for, games and concerts and things like that, and they're always like, well, where's your mom? She's not gonna come. You're never gonna see my mom at a school event.
Yeah. And that's so sad.
Yeah.
I didn't even You know, it got to the point where she was so disinterested she didn't even care when I graduated.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, there was no the only reason I went to my graduation ceremony, and I went and I got there late, is because a friend found out I was graduating, and they were uh like a couple years older, and they had a car, and they were like, go get dressed and come on. And I got there at like the tail end of the ceremony after everybody had already crossed the stage, got their diploma. And so I watched them walk around the gymnasium or whatever, and then everybody started to head out, and I just walked up to the stage and asked for my diploma and went home.
Wow. Yeah, my mom would attend things, especially if it made her look good. You know,
Oh yeah,
because
definitely.
I acted in plays, so she can go and say, my daughter is starring in that play, you know.
I get that.
But for assignments, like for instance, biology, I remember I had a lab partner I was working with, and we needed to get some paramecium out of a pond somewhere, and
I've always loved
I
that
didn't
word.
have a way to
Paramecium.
paramecium.
Okay,
And,
before I forget, I just going to throw this out really fast. Guy I used to work with, his business card that he got from work said that he was the lead paramecium.
Well, I'm jealous.
Right? He didn't have to pay for it. The company paid for it. He just realized he could get away with putting any title he wanted.
Oh, that's funny. That's real funny. So I needed to get to this pond, and I couldn't go with my lab partner because, unlike you, I wasn't allowed to go in students' cars, friends' cars. So I was very limited, and yet like
Oh, but your mom would go ahead and escort people around because it makes her look good.
if sometimes only if it, yeah, because remember I had a stalker all through high school.
Well,
and
that was just taking you. That wasn't taking others.
That's true, because I am different. Yeah. Actually, Eric walked with me for a while. It's that, senior year comes along.
And you just dropped my name for a third time.
Oh, fucking A! God!
Bexy, she has done more damage in a half an episode than you have in 2 seasons. Or in a year. In a year.
Well, you had me name my business, and guess what? Whose name is on that website?
That's a good point.
Oh, and whose other information is there too. Anyway.
So anyway, parameciums.
But just school driving, when I had the stalker, she outright told me that she wouldn't drive me to school because she hadn't brushed her teeth yet. And if she was pulled over by a cop, she'd have, I don't know, morning breath.
At a town of 3,500 people, you have to seriously fuck up during the commute to school to get pulled over. The cops don't want to cause that traffic.
But every time I mention anything like this that paints her in a negative light of any sort, I'm lying. So even recently, she said, I think you lie. And it was like, why would I make that up? That is the weirdest. What?
When I finally got to a point where I said something to my mother about some of the things that she did to me, that I have extremely vivid, hardwired memories of happening. And she just looked at me and said, I don't remember it.
Okay.
I don't know if she really didn't remember it.
Yeah, my mom has stopped remembering huge chunks of my childhood as well.
Well, Bexy's mom eventually did succumb to dementia, so...
Yeah, I've been wondering about my mom as well. And I wonder if there's a connection. That's be interesting. Because she is starting to not remember, like, really weird things.
Yeah.
So, Mom, you don't remember that time you tried to convince me to have sex because it feels really good?
You mean when I was 5 and she sat down and told me about the facts of life and included that detail? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, did you mean the time in middle school when she told me what it was like to give my dad a blowjob?
Things that no kid should ever know from their parents.
Sick? Yeah. And this same kid said, nah, I think I'm going to wait a while.
I mean, my mom did and said some pretty horrible things that are kind of messed up, but I can understand where she was coming from in that, yeah, it was humorous and it was age appropriate based on the shit that I talked about, She paid attention and she responded accordingly.
Right.
But she liked to
right.
She liked to
I know
push
what
it
you
a little bit. Yeah, she liked shock comedy. Like my mom used to tell people, "Hey, so I went and got a tattoo of a cat," and she'd show her inner thigh, of a mouse in her thigh. Do you see the mouse? Do you see the mouse? That's right there. Oh, pussy got it.
That's funny.
See, now that's funny.
That is.
I'm going to get a tattoo of a M on one butt cheek and an M on the other butt cheek, so when I moon it says mom, and when I do a headstand it says wow. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Although there is the fact that my mom did buy my ex-wife, back when we were still married, for Christmas, a Lifesavers vibrator.
Wait a minute. A lifesavers vibrator? Okay, never mind.
Okay, first off, a vibrator for your daughter-in-law is just weird.
Yeah. And I'm stuck on the detail of lifesavers.
Lifesaver. I know, that got me too. I was like...
I know.
Right,
like,
yeah.
But what do you mean? But what do you mean?
It looked like a giant roll of lifesavers if the lifesavers were about yay big around. Or maybe a little bit bigger.
Funny. I can kind of see doing it.
Oh, I can see the comedy in it, but Jesus.
No, it's weird.
Yeah. There are certain lines that you should never cross, and yeah, my mom wouldn't traipse you to cross that one, but that was like, okay, sometimes she did. She's a shock humor person. It happens. Your mom just was wildly inappropriate. Like,
Yeah. Yes, she was.
Yeah, mom's favorite thing to do whenever I had friends over. I mean, actually, whatever in front of anyone was just to play the let's see how badly I can embarrass Bexy and put her down this time. And that was her favorite thing to do.
Ugh.
So eventually I stopped having friends at the house because, I mean, I don't, who wants to be constantly embarrassed?
right.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, and that was probably the goal. If I keep doing this, she'll stop bringing them over.
Like, I mean, I'll embarrass my kids
something.
occasionally, but it's usually something somewhat mild.
Well,
and only someone that they've known for a long time that may be like, okay, that's funny. Haha, I could have a little bit of fun with this.
Yeah. And my kids have learned that they can embarrass me right back if they want, because if I'm going to dish it out, I'm going to take it too. So even from my kids.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah. My mother could not take it.
Well, no, narcissists can never take it.
I mean, the moment you mention anything about her making you feel bad, you've become
the bad guy.
You are the bully now, and she's in tears doing this whole emotional manipulation thing.
Yep.
And somehow you end up consoling her.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know how many times I have had to talk her down in her response when it got really bad and she didn't, I'd try to assert myself or anything like that. And then, well, you just want me to be dead, don't you? Did I ever fucking say that? No.
Right.
Drama queen.
Yeah,
well, you'd be better off without me. And the last time she did that, I looked at her and I said, I've had it. And she just goes, she's crying her crocodile tears, and she's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "I've had it.
Done.
If you think the world is better off without you, there's a drawer full of knives in the kitchen."
Whoo!
There you go. I mean, really.
And she just looked at me all shocked, and I said, "I'm tired of it. I'm tired of every time I say something to you about how you made me feel, it gets turned around, and it gets to where it's just me feeling bad constantly. I'm tired of feeling bad."
At least you didn't do the, you know what? If you're not going to do it, grab a knife.
Mm. That reminds me though, yeah, because my mom does similarly. I moved around a lot as a kid.
Me too.
Yeah, they just couldn't decide because he did work for the railroad, so he could move around and he has seniority. So they just, oh, it's too hot here, it's too rainy here, whatever. And
yeah, except that when you first started a railroad, it's, okay, you're stationed here now. Oh, now you're stationed here.
Yeah, but he started in the 60s, so.
Oh, yeah, you get that kind of seniority. It's like, you know what, I want to be stationed here. Okay.
Yeah. No, he was good. But, so I went to, 10 schools growing up, you would think I was an Army brat. So I can't even to this day just say, ugh, I hated moving around so much as a kid, because I had to say goodbye to friends all the time and stuff. Oh, we just gave you the worst childhood, didn't you? We're just the worst parents, blah, blah, blah. I mean, can I not say that wasn't fun, that part? The moving around, is that like really outlandish? So it just becomes all about that. Yeah, I can't complain about a thing.
Well, no.
I know that.
What's that say about her if you have to complain?
Yeah.
Wow, it's almost like I know narcissism.
I'm on a first name basis with narcissism. Unfortunately.
Yeah, Bill, you could fuck off now. He's the narcissist ghost, Bill. Get it? No, I was fortunate in that I don't really have a lot of narcissists in my life, but I've run into a lot of narcissists, and I think that, and I hate to say it, but I think that the internet culture has only helped make it worse with the anonymity.
I agree with that.
Because everyone, like, look at all these likes that I'm getting. I'm popular. I must be awesome. Doesn't really work that way.
Nope.
Yeah, and it's what's funny is just how. So someone that Bexy and I mutually know that really helped change both of our lives, was one of the people that pointed out to me how much, or how else, like, how predictable narcissists are.
Oh, yeah.
And they really are.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can pretty much list a scenario, and anyone who has familiarity with a narcissist can tell you how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never plays out well.
No, you might not get exact words, but it's the same exact thing in the end that it's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, they will always, when you have them cornered, they always immediately go to denial and gaslighting.
Yep.
It's like almost...
the gaslighting.
It's so awful.
Oh, it's the worst thing. I'm so sensitive to it.
And they always, always, always try to flip it around to where you are them and they are you. Always.
Yes, they will flip it so they are the victim. And,
so they're the victim, or at least in the right, or somehow noble, or a martyr. Oh, a martyr. They love to be a martyr.
Yep.
Oh my God. My mother was the queen of wanting to be a martyr, let me tell you.
The worst ever. No, gaslighting, I think, is I hate liars, but gaslighting, because it is a lie. It is. It's a form of lie.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the worst, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. And it makes me crazy, which is, of course, the goal. But You know, it works. Ugh, pet peeve, big time.
The worst. I mean, what's sad is I noticed that there are people in my family, that that have learned this behavior, and like you can't say anything if they disagree with you. I have someone who, said something very hurtful, and all I said was, that was hurtful. That really hurt my feelings or something like that. And they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, well, that's stupid." Oh, thank you for, invalidating me and telling me that the way that I feel is wrong.
Jesus. Yeah.
People are insane.
Yeah. Cruel.
Yeah.
People.
And I
What?
I've gone through my life trying to be the opposite of that and trying to just treat people the way that I really want to be treated.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's the most you could ask for and hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish more people were capable of that, because the narcissist will. No, it doesn't matter how well you treat them.
No.
No. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No, in fact,
No.
the better you treat them, the more they want.
Yeah.
Yes.
To where it becomes
Keep
unrealistic.
stroking
You
my
can't even do
ego.
it.
Keep stroking my ego.
Yeah, more.
No.
Mm-mm.
They're like a Labrador retriever with food. They don't have an off switch for eating.
Yeah.
Also, like my
And then
black
they'll just
cats.
puke all over you. Then they puke all over you and then ask for more.
And sometimes they'll get mad that you weren't grateful that they gave up their food for you when they puked on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, there may be narcissists listening to this going, "God, I hate when that happens."
No. The narcissist is listening to it and saying that we're narcissists and they hate it when we do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're saying, "God, I hate when that happens."
Oh, gotcha.
Projection.
Yeah.
That's another. Oh.
Yep. Oh, they do. Amazing.
Projection, I think, like gaslighting for you is projection for me. Very few things piss me off as much as projection.
Projection is, well, it's so personal, isn't it? It's really annoying. Yeah.
It makes me want to just strangle someone. I'm not going to, but man, do I want to. It's like you.
Yeah.
Unbelievably dishonest piece of shit. Listen to yourself, you fucking asshole.
I don't know how many times.
What was that?
I said I don't know how many times after I first met E that I called him in absolute tears because of my mother.
Mm-hmm. So, one thing that Jay doesn't know is that you and your mother actually did reconcile.
Yeah, we did.
That's good.
It was
I mean,
Very,
so long as
really
it's
hard to do.
manageable, it's good.
It was really hard to do. But, and people have told me, after hearing my entire story, some people have still told me, well, you're stupid and crazy for doing that. And, yes, I reconciled with my mother basically the last few years of her life when she was steadily going downhill. She needed somebody to take care of her.
And she genuinely and sincerely had changed.
She had.
That's the part that
Do you think that had
matters.
something to do with the senility? Did it change her brain?
I don't know. I still have
Fascinating.
questions. I still have questions about that, honestly. And it's because of some things that happened, she did, she asked me one day about something when she moved back here, when she moved back down to Texas, because she had been in a different state. And I was telling her about stuff and just, how her opinions on things have, shaped the way that I think about things. And, I was talking about um, the fact that I had gotten on antidepressants and things like that. And I said, I should have asked for these way earlier in my life. I should have had access to mental health care a long time ago. I have needed this for so long, and they helped me. They helped to even out everything. So I don't feel like I'm sunk down in a pit and there's no way out. And she was like, well, why didn't you? And I said, because you don't do that. You don't take medicine for being crazy. And she was like, I have said that before, haven't I? And I said, you've said a lot of things.
She said that.
Yes.
But I mean, that awareness, that self-awareness, that's like...
That's the thing that's shocking.
Yeah, the narcissism gone.
I think...
Yeah.
Even if it was the disease or the dementia that caused it, I'm glad it did. It made her
human. I'm just fascinated.
I don't know if it had to do with the dementia, but she had a series of small strokes. Honestly, her brain was so damaged in part that there was no activity. And I think that perhaps maybe the part that caused her to be so narcissistic got a little, fried.
That's just so fascinating because it really does point to a physical component. I can't help but explore that theory there. That's
she had been living in Ohio for several years, and I hadn't seen her. My sister Paula, when she passed away, that was the one with the pancreatic cancer. We had all gone to Ohio to be with her, and Mom decided that she was going to stay in Ohio and live in Paula's old apartment. I think that was probably her way of trying to deal with the grief of it or something. I don't know. This was the third daughter she had lost.
Oh.
So, I understand things as an adult about her that I never did as a child.
Oh, yeah.
And, but she did suffer strokes and things while she was up there, and she was finally getting to a point where it was becoming hard for her to do things for herself. So, she wouldn't eat because she couldn't cook. And I'm just like, this is no way. I was like, just come back to Texas. You won't have to worry about that stuff. And so we had this conversation, and she was like, yeah, I did say things like that to you. And I said, you've said things like that to me all my life. You've said hurtful things to me all my life. I said, do you want to know one of the most hurtful things that you've ever said to me was, I asked you, I said, you got mad at me one time for being fat. And she was like, I said, yes, you have gotten angry with me for being fat. I came to you and I told you that my step-grandparent had been berating me. And your response was, well, how do you think I feel having a daughter who looks like you?
Oh, no.
Yes. How do you think I feel having to hear from all of my family about how fat and disgusting you are?
Ugh.
And she's like, I remember that. And I said, good,
amazing.
because I remember it too. Because that has been buried in my brain for 30 years.
Wow. I'm glad that you not only got to reconcile that you had this moment of clarity with her, that she could face up to it. And I mean,
and this was before the dementia got really bad.
Before it got bad. Okay.
Yeah, before it got bad, because at first her health issues mainly just the mini strokes that she was having.
Right.
And the doctors had done like an MRI or CAT scan or something, scan of her brain, and they basically seen a lot of dark areas where the tissue was dead. damage from strokes and heart attacks, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as she slipped further into the dementia, some of the narcissists came out.
Yeah, I remember the ending was pretty rough.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you were able to remember it wasn't her talking, it was the dementia at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's face it, dementia patients will say some fucked up things.
They do. They really do.
Yeah, definitely.
You end up with entirely different people at that state. Yeah. Yeah.
I have never in my life, I mean, my mother was definitely the disciplinarian in the family. And, you know, she was never afraid to pick up a stick, a switch, a paddle, a belt, anything like that, a broom. You know, she would, whatever was convenient is what she was going to swing with. And her end stage, it was a back scratcher that she tried to chase me around the house with.
That's funny considering my stage name.
I know.
I go by DJ Backscratch. That's a stage name.
Yeah.
You ever so mad you take one asshole to hit another asshole? What was that?
I love that meme.
Oh my god. So she's trying to chase me around. She's like, I'm gonna whoop your ass. And I just grabbed both of her wrists very gently. And I'm like, Mother, I am 40 years old. You're not whipping anybody's ass. She's like,
oh, goodness.
You're not 40. Mother, look at me. I am 40 years old.
If anyone is whooping anyone's ass.
I was just like, give me the damn back scratcher and sit down before you break a hip again. And she's like, and she just stopped. And she's like, oh yeah, I did do that, didn't I? Yes, you've broken your hip. Sit down. The things that she would remember. At the end, I had a hard time. She kept seeing things. Like things would be caught on fire. She kept seeing cats and dogs.
Actually hallucinating. Okay.
Yeah, she was actually hallucinating. Okay. At one point in time, she hallucinated a whole house full of children that I was apparently taking care of.
That's a nightmare.
Oh yeah. Definitely. I mean, it was a trip. I'm glad that I got to a point where she admitted wrongdoing.
Yeah.
I'm lucky in the fact that a lot of people who have been abused at the hands of a narcissist, they never get that.
Yeah.
Ever.
No. Yeah, I have no idea how it'll go with my mom. No clue.
And what's
She does try to call now and then because she just wants to connect via voice now and then because I completely blocked her on all social media. And I could tell she's a little shaken.
They never expect to be cut off like that.
No.
I mean, when my mother moved to Ohio, it was like freedom for me. She wasn't in my face constantly. I didn't have to see her every day. I took all of that and I worked, you know, with a lot of help, worked through so many years of abuse and different types of abuse. And basically when she moved back down and she tried to be that way again, I was like, look, you're not taking my happy again because it's mine. You can't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, my therapist said that so many daughters of narcissistic mothers, they move across the country to get away from their moms. They just, I mean, it's that extreme. They move across the country.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
And then another conversation we were also having about is how addicts have a near narcissistic personality themselves. It's not quite the same, but it is very similar.
Yeah, chemically induced.
Yeah.
maybe not all the time there. Yeah.
But because it's a chemical alteration of the brain, it's pretty persistent.
Yep.
Even if it's not all the time, even if you get flashes of who they once were before, that asshole still shows up.
It's true.
And it sucks.
It's true. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it kind of is a narcissistic state of mind to get into that addiction, isn't it?
It kind of is.
I mean, it kind of, sometimes. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that in a universal kind of way, but there's a lot like that.
Yeah. It ain't pretty, that's for sure.
No. No.
Not at all.
No. Yeah, I want to leave the area. That's for sure. I want to move away.
I know some places you could go.
Oh, that place is on my list. I have family there. You know that, right?
I know that.
Oh, you do know that. Oh, yeah, you know that.
I know that.
We won't. And friends.
Yes.
No,
And we-
that's absolutely on my list because I grew up going there all the time.
But we must do the Yoki.
Can't tell you how scared I am of that, which is exactly why you have to make me do it, but I am terrified.
You see, what we'll do is we'll do a duet. Or I'll just sing with you if it's a song that I happen to know.
Okay. A duet I could handle. Not being alone initially.
Yeah. I've done that plenty of times. I used to run karaoke. One of my favorite...
We'll see.
One of my favorite
we'll see.
duets, it's Seether and Amy Lee, Broken. 'Cause I'm broken, 'cause it's over now. It was popular for a while.
Remember how I said I don't listen to the radio? I meant it.
Yeah.
I have to rely on like you and various people to tell me, "Hey, listen to this." And I'm,
Do you know who?
okay.
Do you know who Amy Lee is? What?
Nope.
Have you ever heard of the group Evanescence?
I have heard of the group Evanescence.
Amy Lee is the lead singer.
Okay. Have heard of the group.
voice.
Oh, she is incredible. One of the most talented singers like ever. And that's not an understatement.
Okay.
She is
Okay, this is how
incredible.
bad I am. I'm like, there's she's in Evanescence.
She's the lead singer.
I don't know it. I said I've heard of it.
Oh my god. I'm so tired of being here. That's my childish feelings.
Oh, look at it. I'm actually blushing.
And if you
E. I remember to call you E. I'm actually blushing.
Yay!
Oh, I still do it. Oh, God. I am almost 44, and here we go. So, no, that would be fun, I guess, maybe. Actually, my version of hell, but it would be fun to
Why would you just
make fun of me. That would be fun.
And Kat, in response to not listening to the radio, glad to know there's other people out there like me. So there you go. See? Your soulmate's a cat. Or I should say, the cat. Cat's awesome.
We love cat.
We love Cat. Cat is probably the most reliable person to ever for the podcast for chat. Bexy
Yes.
would be that one, but Bexy's a co-host.
Okay.
And Kat refuses to actually come on the podcast. She's just... she's a perma-lurker.
I almost did that, but I got this bully in my life.
You got stories.
Ah.
You got plural. Stories.
Oh, I do, don't I?
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's all right. I never considered myself a bully, and then I sat and thought about it, and I kind of bullied E into starting the podcast.
For all the right reasons, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I every time we would be in our group chat on Twitter, and he would be saying something about it. I'm like, did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? What's going on with the podcast? Did you do it yet? Huh? Did you?
Perfect.
Yep. And Bonnie didn't make it. Dang it. Bonnie was awesome. Last week's guest?
Yes.
Bonnie was awesome.
I'm sorry I had to cut out early last week, but
Oh, that's the one I only got to hear fleetingly while driving around town and stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that night.
I could, but I'm not going to.
No, you're not. Oh, but I heard the beginning and it broke my heart.
Yeah. I was pretty down. That was not my best moment.
I got there as fast as I could.
We have those times when that thing that you cling to most, when it doesn't come through, it's like that's your lifeline and you just break. I get it because I remember like for the first year and a half of COVID, my parents had us shopping for them every single weekend. So I had an even shorter weekend. I only really have one day off of work. I kind of can create days off, but I'm still on call. Anyway, if I lost that little window of a time off at that time, I would just sob. I was just a mess. You know, just that little thing that mattered. And this is that thing that matters.
Yeah.
So.
It definitely is.
This is my therapy.
Right.
Mine too.
I mean, how am I supposed to put a price on that?
No, I know it.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So, no, I can see why. I can see why it's your therapy.
I get to be pure, unadulterated me. I get to help people.
I don't know.
With
You
their own
are a
issues.
little.
Well, yeah. Okay, so I have to have some filter. It's a necessary filter. I may not like it, but it is a necessary filter.
But it's mostly you. It's
Yeah. But I get to genuinely connect with people. I get to genuinely help to communicate some things that are hard to communicate. It's a gift that I've always had, that I could take someone's, like, a concept and speak to different people at different levels. I've always been able to do that. And I'm helping others, and I'm helping myself in the process. I'm learning a lot about myself at the same time. This is my therapy.
guiding and teaching is the best way to learn. So.
And if you're not learning while you're teaching, you're doing something wrong.
You're absolutely doing something wrong. Yeah.
And what did we learn tonight, kids? Grief is like glitter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always going to land in your butt crack.
Okay, now that is a t-shirt I have to make.
I freaking love you. That is awesome.
Grief is like glitter. It gets in your butt crack.
It's always going to land in your butt crack.
I'm never going to see it any other way now.
Babies.
Oh, yeah, that's up there with skin babies. Seriously.
Yes.
Oh, do tell.
Okay, so skin babies.
I feel like I don't want to know, but I just asked.
All right, so it was a guest, Mark, that came on. Transgender, going the full 9 yards, transgender.
Okay.
In their past life, they did have a couple of miscarriages. And it was a point that they were sad about, is that they may never have kids. Well, I had remembered about a study I read where they were able to take skin cells and turn them into viable sperm cells. And I was like, this technology is being worked on. It exists. They're going to be able to take some of your skin. Yeah, you're going to be able to take some of your skin, and you're going to be able to have babies because of it. And it became my skin babies. It's like, how many skin babies get lost in vacuum filters every year?
I snorted.
How many skin babies have we breathed in inadvertently because of dust in the air? I mean, skin baby filtration system. That's what the masks are.
How many skin babies have landed in your eye when you're blowing things off? Yeah. Skin baby in my eye.
I got a baby in my eye. That's a new one.
Oh my god.
I am going to laugh about that one probably for the rest of my life. I got a baby in my eye. Ah! Just
Oh, that's funny.
people are going to look at us like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Hold on, got a baby in my eye. Ow, ow.
Go to toss out your filters after for your HVAC units. Oh, these babies!
Babies, everywhere.
My garbage can is starting to look like a dumpster at Planned Parenthood. Oh, just
Babies.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
You could.
No, I really can't.
No, he really can't.
I don't have
he
much
really
of a
can't.
filter. You know
He really
me forever.
Obviously, I don't do too well either.
And then Kat just threw in all my children. Oh god. Oh, this is a legendary episode here. Oh god.
Retitle it, What Are They On?
No, this is what happens when C leaves me and E alone.
Yeah, we can't be left unsupervised, and you're just as bad. So yeah.
I know.
We can't be
Oops.
unsupervised.
Oh god, so there's going to be 2 new t-shirts. Grief is like glitter. It lands in your butt crack. Followed by... I'm sorry, I got a baby stuck in my eye. Yeah. Oh god, I needed this.
I haven't laughed this hard in a while.
Same. Oh god, I
You
needed
know,
this.
eye wash, and you're supposed to flush it, so he's like, I've got a baby in eye. Flush it.
It's like on South Park. Time to flush the baby. Don't flush the baby.
Oh!
Oh my god, that's gonna sound so bad out of context.
Right?
Which is going to be so good. Oh my god.
You should make a shirt with a bottle of eye drops on it that says "Flush the goddamn baby."
Or like the Visine commercial. You know, the dry eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby eyes.
Gets the baby out. Yeah, it says gets the red out, gets the baby out. Oh, crap.
Oh god, and then I just thought of some really, really inappropriate jokes that for shirts that no. I'll have to tell you guys off the air because there's no way I'm dropping them on the air.
Oh, I think I finally stopped crying.
And then there's a shirt that I've wanted to make for a while. It's a play off of one that already kind of exists, but it's like I feel that it's incomplete, which is the whole silence is golden, duct tape is silver. It really needs the choice is yours. It really needs the choice is yours.
Yes.
It does.
Oh.
I gotta see how AJ's doing. You know who you remember AJ? Came on Christian cult, and then wound up having an accident and an amputation.
Yes.
I'm supposed to do T-shirts with her because she does a lot of design, and I come up with a lot of like slogans and mottos and stuff. Like one that we really wanted to do. It's a little politicized, but I'll just go ahead and say it anyway. It was going to say on the front, "What did communists use before candles?" And on the back, it was just going to have a light bulb. I see that. I'm judging you. Look.
No, I'm going, but it's right.
Yeah. It's funny because it's true.
I want to argue this, but I can't.
I could,
because I want to argue, but I can't.
I love to argue. That's the whole purpose. That's the only reason I ever get on Twitter. I love to argue.
Oh my god. You mean it's the whole reason why you get banned all the time?
Potato, potato.
Yeah.
Tomato, tomato.
And Kat's never heard of the silence is golden, duct tape is silver.
But you have made it. Is this a new record lately for Facebook?
For over the last year, yes.
I thought so. I mean, it's at least 2 now, right?
Last year, I deliberately wanted to be in Facebook jail more than out. So I would be out for like 3-4 days and be like, all right, it's time to go back to jail. And I would say something completely inflammatory. And I always like the people that they're like, oh, wow, I got like a 7-day ban from Facebook. I'm like, oh, those are rookie numbers. What'd you do? Call someone a poo-poo head? Because that's about what that deserved.
I'm like Facebook daddy's favorite kid or something. I can get away with saying anything on there. Knock on wood. But I just like, what is this? Like, why are people being banned for this and that? I've done that a million times. I don't know.
Yeah, once you get put on the radar, you're done.
That's true. That's true. Oh, just an FYI, if you were interested in doing that male postpartum depression thing, you
yes. You
have one so far.
Good. I want to get a few people. We actually talked about that at the beginning of the episode before you jumped on.
Perfect. Okay. Yep, that person I asked and they said yes.
Good. Because it's important.
Instantly said yes.
And like I suspected in the chat, very positive. Like a lot of people go, yeah, this needs to be talked about.
Yeah, it needs to be talked about a lot. It needs to become part of classes and stuff when all that's going on,
Exactly.
Just needs to be. Yeah.
And I actually have 2 family members that hold PhDs in psychology that I want to talk to, be like, look, if you really want to help make a contribution, team up with a psychiatrist and 2 of you dive into this. Because you could deal with it from the emotional standpoint and the cognitive standpoint, where they could look at it at a chemical standpoint, the hormonal standpoint. Because I'm sure it's a mix of all of it.
Oh, it's got to be. Yeah. Yeah. And it just as real as the mother's version. Absolutely. And very rampant. I mean, this is just ridiculous that we don't always talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
No hesitation. They said yes.
Thank you. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
So remember, just have to choose the right Thursday. But
yeah. Speaking of we actually have our book for the next 2 Thursdays.
Awesome.
We have a friend of mine from Australia next week. They've been through hell and back. I told you a little bit about some of the jokes that, the one thing that she did with the hickey.
Yeah.
And then the following week, we have Coach Sam, I want to say Coach Sam 87. I'm going to go ahead and give them a shout out now, because they're going to be giving a shout out to us soon here. They are on TikTok. Bexy watched the video and wanted to reach out and hug them. Oh, by the way, I'm trying to get Courtney back on too. just to let you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Sam 87 is going to be plugging us and will be coming on the last Thursday of the month. They have a rather large following on TikTok.
Very cool.
I mean,
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her story, and again, I don't care if she had 0 followers or as many as she has, her story is worth being told. And the most that you could tell on a TikTok video is 3 minutes. She has so much going on that she's going to need the 3 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if she becomes a 2-parter, to be honest.
Cool.
Yeah, and she was talking about live streaming it on TikTok, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not so sure how that's going to work, because you're only going to get half the conversation.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you can figure out a way to do it, by all means, do it. I'm not trying to say, no, send them all to me.
Snippet. Maybe some select snippets, highlights, that kind of thing.
Which I could always grab those, too, be like, hey, you know what, here, do you want or it's like, do you want a copy of the audio? Let me get it to you.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Whatever she needs to do.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. There's a couple of videos that she has put out that it's made me tear up. One of the topics that she is going to talk about is with eating disorder. Like, when someone says that you look healthy, it comes across to her as you look fat.
Oh.
She associates healthy with fat. And she said one thing that I have been a big proponent of for a while now, and I'm so glad to hear it echoed outside, or heard it said outside of this podcast, which someone asked, hey, because that triggers you, what should I say otherwise? And instead of saying what it was right off the bat, the first thing she said was, look, this is my trigger. Exactly. I own it. It's my trigger. I don't need you tiptoeing around my triggers. It's not your job to be responsible for everybody else's triggers, for the world's triggers.
That's part of why Me Too got out of hand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's why I want to talk with that later, different episode.
Yeah.
But but then at the same time, talking about, she still gave, here's what you could say. I look happier. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Nope. But as she said, it's my trigger. I need to work on it. I don't need everyone else being cautious about it. I appreciate that you're trying, but this is my issue and nobody else's.
And it's true. And, really, that is an unreasonable trigger, and she does need to work on it. So, and it'll benefit her in the end anyway, and she knows it. So that's great.
Exactly. It was so great to hear something that's a core belief of mine being spoken about, and it's that whole self-ownership thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't claim to be, about self-ownership if you don't own yourself in its entirety. Warts and all.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, boy, do I know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, no, that sounds like fantastic. Yeah, great.
Yeah, so that's going to be awesome to have. And then we have a little gap, which, Bonnie, I wish you were here because you have people that they don't want to. Yeah. And also, supporter of the show, Austin. He has mentioned that he wants to come on, but right now he's in the process of moving. He doesn't come on live like he used to, but he actually set up a subscription. He's like, we don't have subscriptions to our podcast, but he has set up a reoccurring monthly payment to us to help keep this podcast going.
Oh, that's awesome.
And his experiences with, like, we were talking about microdosing in the chat, and how he has helped a lot of kids. He's done a lot of, like, therapy stuff. Like, he's been on the helping end of things, and, like, the latest research in microdosing and all that. I was like, yeah, I want to know, because there's now a lot of evidence that psilocybin, from the magic mushrooms, and microdoses is fantastic for depression and anxiety and ADD. And I'm like,
they've been talking about that up in this state a lot.
Well, yeah, it's your
this
state
mysterious state.
Yeah, well, that state is why this study is now actually going to be able to be done legitimately without having to cut through tons and tons of red tape.
We've already been voting on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really, really encouraging and fascinating news.
All right, Bexy's blood sugar's crashing.
Yeah, I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh.
At least
I've loved meeting you.
I loved meeting you too. It was awesome, and I hope you're back on the show sometime soon.
Oh, I have a feeling I will be.
Oh, and DeVern just jumped on with our last 9 minutes.
Oh.
Hi, DeVern. Bye, DeVern.
Hi, DeVern. Bye, DeVern. All right.
Good night.
Good night, you guys.
Good night.
I've got to go get some orange juice.
Yes. Yes.
Wait, I thought orange and puce were two different colors. She's already gone. Damn it. I wish you guys could see the look on her face. Oh, that was priceless.
Hi. Oh, golly. So, about supporting the show.
Yes.
Would you benefit from me hosting it? The website. Would that be an expense that would help?
Yeah, I mean, that's... If you're going to host it, yeah, I mean, that definitely would help out. Because, I mean, web hosting, it's a lot cheaper than it used to be. But it's still an expense.
It is, but they also just went up. So it's kind of...
And you know who I use.
And it's the same.
You use the same?
I think so.
They're kind of dreamy.
Mm-hmm. They really are.
And
Very,
their
very scrumptious.
newsletters are hilarious.
They really are. They are that too.
They're literally
and they
the
recently came back.
What was that?
The newsletters recently came back. I don't know if you saw that come through.
Literally the only newsletters I ever read. Ever.
Yep.
Because they were just that funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Almost like a particular police department. So yeah, I mean that would definitely help out. We also want to get the extra episodes up. I mean, you saw how I had it laid out in the format. It's not.
Yeah, and if you didn't want to move hosts, I get it, because sometimes it's nice to be the one that has the control of that host. But I'm just offering. But yeah, we need to get more episodes up and stuff. Send me anything you need, and we need to put our brains together for picking up the design and stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a number of things that I want to do. Like, I mean, the next one on the list, like, as much as there's some things that I really, really want. Like, I want our own apps for iOS and Android. I would love that. That's not as real or as like desire and need as, say, I would like to get transcripts of our episodes. Then they become searchable, and it also allows people who are hard of hearing from being able to would also be able to enjoy the episodes, because they can
people who accidentally name drop, then you can find them easier.
Well, I mean, there's enough information out there if they really wanted to track me down. Good luck.
Me too. I mean, obviously, I'm out there.
Well, here's the thing with my name. I share a name with a very famous person. So, yeah, that's nice. Search my name, you find them. And pretty much
search
only
my
them.
name and you're pretty much find me eventually. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a friend that's come on the show a couple of times and has also co-hosted because at the time it was just Bexy and me, and Bexy was having a bad flare-up. Yeah. The spelling of her first name is completely unique. You just search that first name and you will find her. There's not another person on the planet with the spelling of her name the way it is.
Yeah. I've known a couple. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be quite that unique.
Right? I mean, you're unique. Let's just get that out of the way now. You're unique. But you're unique in all the right ways.
I was voted most unique.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that in the yearbook.
So funny.
Anyway. Yeah, Kat, there's a bazillion people with my name. Devern was commenting on how many comments there were. Of course, the instant he commented on the number of comments, it changed the number of comments. So
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there's 93 comments. Wait, 94. No, wait. 95.
No. How's this happening?
But wait, there's
I'm
more.
always wrong. I'm always wrong. There must be a baby in my eye. Sorry.
Oh, God, I'm going to laugh about that forever. Yeah, we need to make that into a t-shirt. There's a baby in my eye! Grief is like... So it started out as grief is like glitter. It gets everywhere, and it's impossible to ever clean up. To grief is like glitter. It lands in your ass crack.
Eventually, it's going to land in your ass crack,
Yeah. Eventually, you're going to wipe and be like, what the fuck? I
knew I was special.
I don't remember eating a clown or a stripper. Oh, God, we're unsupervised.
I know, this is bad.
Didn't people get the memo?
I mean, I know it's only 8 minutes, but it's 8 minutes.
Well, it's actually 2.5 minutes left.
It's still 2.5 minutes. That's scary.
Yeah,
Anything could happen.
So yeah, again, next week we are going to be having some tales from Australia. Yes, even people down under suffer with issues that impact mental health, and their mental health can impact their life. So yeah, surprise, surprise. It's a global phenomenon. But I'm really looking forward to this episode because, like, it is a good friend of mine. I've talked to this person, like, I've known them since 2006.
Wow. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you go way back. That's great.
Yeah, we go way back.
Great.
And I'm I'm like how you've been with me lately, how I'm your person. I was their person too for a long time.
Oh, that's good.
I kind of have a habit of doing that, and I don't regret it one bit.
I do too. And it's interesting for me to be in the other position lately because I usually have people, I mean, even clients will call up when they're in emotional distress. It's fascinating. I don't know why it happens that way, but I am that person usually. And suddenly I needed that person. So,
well, I'm glad that I was here to do that. Because, like,
no, you're phenomenal for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know who my person was? Yeah, that one.
Oh. Gotcha.
Yeah, that was my person.
That panned out, didn't it? Well, at the time.
Hey, you know what? If I could return the favor, that would be fantastic.
Hopefully I really hope that happens.
Yeah. All right, so next week, like I said, we have a guest from Australia. We're going international again. This time we are flipping the horizon completely. We're not flipping the horizon. We're flipping the hemisphere. So we're in spring. They're in fall. This should be fun. Until next week, I'm E. And on behalf of Beck C and C, we'll catch you later.